Hello everyone and welcome to another JALTEST webinar. Today I have the pleasure of being here with my colleague Marcos and who will lead the second part of this session. In this webinar, we will have a look to the return on the investment of JALTEST commercial vehicles, the all makes and all system diagnostic solution for commercial vehicles. And we will try to show the value of our solution in economic terms. So well, as most of you may know, Jaltest Diagnostics is the leader of the aftermarket diagnostics tools. And today we will try to show you why and also the economic reasons of this success, okay? If you have any questions, we will have, as always, an eye on the chat and we will try to answer all the questions. Also, Marcos will be there attending you for any doubt you may have during the presentation. But well, let's start, okay? Thank you very much for joining us. Okay, we will start first identifying the main industry challenges in terms of diagnostics, maintenance, and technical information, okay? So, well, many customers wanting to know why Jaltest is successful and the reasons they should purchase our solution. So, well, today, Marcos and I will try to summarize that. And we will try with these challenges of what are the issues you are having on the shops, regardless the type of customers you are. I mean, this webinar is for fleets, for public services shops, independent shops, and even dealers, okay? Then after checking the heavy-duty challenges, we will have a look overview of Jaltest, the coverage and the features that we provide for the market. And then we will try to answer the issues and the problems we have seen on the first part in the third part, that is financials, finishing the webinar with conclusions, okay? So we have identified 3 problems in terms of coverage, in terms of diagnostics. The first one is the need on asking third parts, dealer services, or other shops to cover some of our trucks. This situation is not only for fleets that they are sending some of the trucks to another shops, but also for independent shops and even dealers that at the end of the day they are not covering some systems or some trucks or some vehicles, and for some reason they are finishing sending them to other companies. Okay, so as you can see right now on the screen, this way to resolve the problem is going to cost us money and time, because we will increase also the downtime that our trucks are in the shops, and we will lose the control of our resources, all right? Because if we are not repairing our trucks, if we are not paying, inverting that time, we will lose at the end of the day also the freedom and some business opportunities, okay? The second issue we have seen is that most of our customers used to work with the different OEM software, okay? This is very common in the commercial industry. When we go to a shop, we will see that there are 6, 7, even 8 different diagnostic solutions for covering different systems and different manufacturers, all right? This problem is not only about the price of the OEM tools and the software solutions that are, as I'm sure you know, that are very expensive, some of them, but it's also about the learning curve. Okay, we will spend a lot of time trying to learn different software that change, and if we are working with one track, we will realize that we will need to learn one software for the engine, another one for the transmission, another one for the brakes, another one for the cabin. So at the end of the day, a lot of time and not being really confident working with the software, right? In fact, another difficulty, another issue that we have when we are working with OEM software is that sometimes some of them are very restrictive and we are not able to perform some of the action, because some of these softwares are designed to provide you some coverage, but not the total one. So at the end of the day, you are going to need to send the trucks to that dealer services. So for example, in Mercedes or Chrysler, Paccar, Volvo, this type of manufacturers, most of the time are offering a diagnostic solution that not cover or not offer all the coverage you may need, okay? All right, so as a result of the previous 2 situations, we realized that some shops, some fleets, some customers are performing reactive maintenance, okay? So this is the last thing we have to do, okay? We'll always try to do preventive maintenance. And this is because if we are doing reactive, we are spending a lot of time, a lot of money in parts, in replacement, in whole systems to change, and also at the end of the day, we will reduce the expected life of our equipment, of our vehicles. All right, so it's very important to keep the maintenance at the best level, avoiding this reactive maintenance. Okay, well, as I said before, this is the final solution for some customers that are not having that tool or that coverage in some systems. So at the end, they are waiting until the system breaks or they have the situation in which they need to purchase a part or to do a replacement. Okay, so in other words, what we have in this independence service and in these fleets is dependency on third parts, on third tools that they don't own. Okay, so we are taking care of our vehicles without having the right equipment that we need. Okay, so as it's written here on the PowerPoint, we will be inefficient, expensive, and dependent. Okay, so well, in short, the coverage that becomes worse, and we are not able to provide the service that we used to do in other systems or for other customers. Okay, because we do not have the right solutions. All right. So why does it happen? Well, because that happens because we do not have the right resources. But how much can cost this lack of coverage? How much we are losing because we are not able to work with the right tools? Okay. Here I will try to show you with some study cases in which I just pick 3 different tracks, 3 different vehicles with different engines and situations, just to show up how much it costs the action and how much we are spending in this type of regular maintenance and regular actions that we have daily in the shop. Okay, for example, in the first one, we have a Peterbilt 579 with a Paccar engine. Okay, that needs a DPF regen. All right, this action has to be carried out with a diagnostics tool, but most of the customers are not feeling confident working with Paccar. Some of them don't have the solution or whatever. So they finish sending the truck to the dealer or to another shop. So they spend an average of $500 that are money that not only that they are spending, but also they are not winning, because if they are not able to provide the service, they are not also able to cover that customer. So at the end of the day, they are losing also the opportunity. Okay. Also, here in this case study, we are not taking into account the downtimes of these vehicles in the shop, that if we are having them in third parties, we will lose completely the control on that. Okay. In our second situation, we have a Freightliner Cascadia with a Cummins X15 engine. Okay, very common engine in the industry that needs an injector cooling. Okay, I'm pretty sure most of you know how to perform the mechanical exchange of these injectors and how to do that action, because it's very common, and well, I'm sure most of you know how to do that. But nowadays the industry is changing. We are changing the mechanical part to electromechanical, and it's more and more common to need not only to do the replacement, but also save that information on the ECM. Okay, so well, as most of you know, we need to anytime we change a component, or we, especially for this one that are very specific, like the injectors, we need to let the ECM know the new information. Every time we modify a parameter, every time we update a component or adjust some information, we are going to need a diagnostics tool. So for example, this action takes like 6.5 hours, more or less, according to Cummins. Of course, most of the time is because of the replacement and the installation. And the calibration, the coding, is only takes a few minutes with the right solution. But it's true that the dealer won't let you go with the injector already installed and then only ask for the calibration. They are gonna charge you for the whole process, because they need to do because of safety reason, they need to also take care of the whole process. Okay, so this action is gonna cost around $1,000. Okay, and once again, it's money that we are not winning, or we are not earning, because we do not have the diagnostics tool. Okay. Last but not least, in our study case, we have a RAM 3500 with a Cummins ISB 6.7 engine. All right, and in this case happens something that is very particular for the Dodge group. That is that even if you have the Cummins Inside tool, you won't be able to work and perform these actions. Why? Because Dodge has its own configuration, so you are going to need the Chrysler Tech Authority Diagnostics tool that it costs more than $1,800, and it's not very it's not very common to have that solution on the shop, and sometimes it's difficult to purchase that diagnostic solution. So what I mean in this study case is a very good example that even having the right OEM tool for the system itself, sometimes there are configurations, there are motorizations and variants that doesn't allow us to carry out the action, okay? In this case, our technician needs to do a VGT calibration. So once again, it's not only the action through the tool, we need also to do the replacement and installation, and after that do the calibration. Well, this action is available in Jaltest and it's very simple. With a couple of clicks, we will be able to do that, and we will be able to save that $600 or to earn a new customer that has pickups and this type of equipment, okay? All right, so in these three examples, if we take like more or less one service per month that we are not taking care because we do not have the software that we need, it's not a very big amount of service that we are losing. I'm pretty sure some companies are spending even more. If we take that average, in an average price of $700 per service, we will realize that at the end of the year, we will spend more than $8,000, or we will lose that income in our shop because we are sending the trucks and the vehicles to other shops, okay? So if we take this accumulated cost during 5 years, we will see that we will lose $42,000, okay? So here, my question is, why not do it yourself, all right? Why not having the software? Why you are not investing in the software? Okay, the answer is very simple. It's because the initial investment can be very huge. Diagnostic software are not cheap, and you cannot have the total coverage of the market by purchasing the different software that OEM are offering, because there are more than 20, 30 different manufacturers, and everyone has his own software, and most of them you can find it in the same track. So right now I'm going to show you in some examples what that means, this situation. All right. Okay, so here we have a Kenworth T680 that can have different configuration, okay? Why I choose this? Well, because every truck in the market can have different engines, different after treatment, different brake systems, transmissions, and even cabin modules, okay? So in our example, we can have the same Kenworth truck with a Cummins engine or a Paccar engine, so two different diagnostic software, with an Eaton, Allison, or Paccar transmission, again, three different softwares, and also different brake systems. So if we want to have the complete coverage for this truck, we will need to do a big investment. So let's see how much will be the investment. All right, here we have that truck that is a Kenworth. In this case, I choose one with a Cummins X15 engine. So for covering this in terms of software, we will need to spend $6,100 because we will need the Paccar day before software for covering the transmission and the cabin model. Also one for the brakes, that is going to be Bendix, and also the Cummins Inside. Okay, so this situation can be worse because instead of Paccar transmission, we can have an Allison transmission. So we're going to be another software model, right? But who is working with only one track, right? We are independent shops, we are fleets, we are public service companies. We have more than one track, more than one model. So let's see, we have three different tracks, okay? Let's have this example. In this case, I choose an International ProStar, another very popular track that I'm pretty sure most of you have worked with it, and has an Navistar engine, Eaton transmission, and international cabin model, and again, Bendix brakes. So for covering this track, it's gonna be $3,800. That if we add another track to the variant, for example, a Inno medium light duty track, in this case is a Inno 268 with a Inno engine, we are gonna need here also another software that is gonna be the Inno Allison for the transmission, and then again the Bendix software. So how much that it cost? How much that it costs covering only 3 tracks? Okay, if we want to have the OEM software for everyone, for every different system, we are going to need 8 different diagnostic solutions with the hardware, with the different license, different times to renew one by one. Well, a completely mess in the shop that also we will spend a lot of time to learn how to use most of them. And if we talk about money, this is going to cost around $13,000, all right? So which is our solution for that? Well, our solution is Jaltest Diagnostics, all right? That is a solution designed for providing advanced maintenance and increase the life of your assets by providing dealer level coverage in all makes and all systems. So our goal with our solution is to reduce the number of tools that you store in your shop and being able to work in everything from the same platform, right? So right now, my colleague Marcos will show you what is Jaltest and the different features and coverage that we have and how that impact in as an economic boost for your shop. Okay. So thank you much. Thank you for your time. Marcos, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Jorge. Thank you very much for presenting us these challenges and also for giving us some real and good examples. Now it's time to see or to present which is our value proposal to face these challenges, or in other words, our proposal to stop working in an inefficient, expensive, and dependent way. So Jaltest Diagnostics or Jaltest Commercial Vehicles is an all makes and all models diagnostic solutions that works on any system present in vehicles from the class 3 to the class 8, meaning that it goes from light duty vehicles like, for example, pickup trucks and vans, for example, Dodge Rams for 150 and up, Chevy Silverados, Ford Transits, Mercedes-Benz Sprinters, and so on. Also, medium-duty vehicles like your Hinos, Isuzus, Mitsubishi Fusos, and so on. And of course, your heavy-duty trucks like Peterbilt, Freightliners, Kenworth, Volvo, International, Mack, and so on and so on. So in addition to that, it also covers buses and trailers. Okay, so one of the main features or advantages of Jaltest Diagnostics is going to be its capability to perform in just one click and in about 60 seconds a full system scan of the vehicle. After these 60 seconds, we're going to be able to have in front of us a complete health report of our vehicle, and we will get into a single screen. We're going to be able to see in a single screen what is wrong in each of these electronic control modules. And how are we going to do this? This is not really complicated. You just need to hook up the right connector between our Jaltest link and the truck, and then pressing the button of the main connector or the connector that we are using in our vehicle. And that's it. That's all we need to do to make the magic happen. For all the vehicle types that we have just mentioned earlier, Jaltest is going to cover not only the engine side, but also the rest of the electronic modules, like transmissions, body computers, brakes, after treatment systems, and so on. So for example, on trailers, we can work on brakes, and then also on the wheel pressure sensors, and even on the refrigeration systems, just to give you an example. On the right side of the screen, you have some numbers that can give you an idea about how extensive is the current coverage offered by Jaltest. It's important to mention here that these numbers are growing day by day as the result of the continuous product improvement and development. Remember that Jaltest is updated 3 times per year, meaning that we are constantly adding new features and more coverage to the software. One of the main features offered by Jaltest Diagnostics is going to be obviously the capability of performing advanced diagnostics. And why do we say advanced instead of simply saying diagnostics? Well, first of all, because Jaltest doesn't just offer generic or basic information, but also proprietary information. And second, because for a given fault code, we're going to provide, first of all, detailed description of the code, also the number of repetitions, the status of the fault code, if they are active or they are non-active, and also their level of priority so that we know where to put our attention first in case that we are in a rush and we want to get the truck back to the road as soon as possible. And if all this is already good, Jaltest can go further, and actually it does. And here is actually where we take the diagnostic process to the next level, because Jaltest is going to show the technician all the information related to the fault that will guide the technician through this repair. We're talking, for example, about providing freeze frame data, which is going to be a snapshot of the different measurements taken when the fault code happened. And not only that, Jaltest is going to tell the mechanic which are those components related to the fault code, showing them the picture, their location in the vehicle, their operational values, their replacement guides, and even taking the mechanic to the wiring diagram so that he can make sure that all the connections and the cables are correct. In other words, Jaltest is going to help us to narrow down the repair process, going from the general to the very specific, because as we all know, not always the replacement of a component is going to be the solution to our problems. But Jaltest is much more than just diagnostics, as we will be able to carry out dealer level bidirectional tests, meaning that we're going to be able to, for example, set parameters such as the maximum vehicle speed, the idle shutdown timer, or play with the PTO controls. Also, we will be able to create ECU copies that is going to be very useful in those cases where we're going to replace the control unit, but we want to keep the previous configuration in the new one, or even to perform calibrations on the transmissions, or maybe on the VGT that we want to install and then calibrate. Even if we want to perform an injector coding, we can do that. Jorge mentioned it before. Or even different systems checks like cylinder cutouts, injector tests, and so on. Okay. When it comes to the maintenances, we will have, for example, DPF regions and different resets for the after treatment system. Of course, Jaltest will allow us to check live measurements either through different system displays, graphics, or deciding between pressures, temperatures, voltages, and so on. It's important to mention that all this technical or repair information that we have mentioned before is also included and integrated in Jaltest. Okay, the name of this module is going to be Jaltest Info Online, and its main advantage for the user is the immediate access to the information without having to leave or without having to exit the software. That means that if we needed or we wanted to check operational values, wiring schematics, timing torques, pinouts, or if we needed a guidance on how to change or to replace a sensor or component, we can easily access to that information right there, just one click away in the same software. Think on how much time you have probably spent by searching this information on Google, in user manuals, or in different other sources. Again, with Jaltest information or Jaltest info, all the technical info is going to be integrated in Jaltest so that we save time in our repairs and we get to the solution in the most efficient way. In addition to that, the Info Online module also comes with troubleshooting by symptoms for all those problems that are not necessarily provoked, that are not necessarily provoking lights on the dash, or they are giving us fault codes. Sometimes when there is no light, we got frustrated because the engine, for example, still doesn't work or it keeps smoking. So thanks to these guides, we are not going to be 100% blind, and we will have at least some guidance or some troubleshooting to go through these mechanical problems. Also, in this Info Online module, we're going to find repair times. okay? Not just for the engine, but also for other systems like transmission, brakes, and so on. And last but not least, Jaltest is the result of a continuous product development. It's a live product, constantly being improved. In fact, as we said before, Jaltest is updated 3 times per year. And for these updates, the close communication we have with our users is going to be key, since it allows us to know their feedback and also their coverage request. This communication is possible thanks to the customer and technical support channels. So it's important to mention that Jaltest users are not alone when they're using the software, and whenever they have questions or whenever they need assistance, we're here to support them. Okay, being able to connect remotely to their computers if necessary. So we all know the advantages of following a preventive maintenance strategy versus a reactive one. So for all those companies working with preventive maintenance approaches, Jaltest is going to offer very interesting features and capabilities as well. For example, having the chance to perform periodic or regular diagnostic checks to all the vehicle systems, or, for example, to being able to perform different resets, regens, or calibrations related to different maintenances. Or what about having access to the information related to the maintenance or the service intervals, so that we know what we need to do in each of these intervals after 100,000 miles or after 1 year or and so on. In fact, users will be able to generate, save, and manage all these maintenance reports over the time, so they can track their activity and have a better control and understanding of the maintenances performed in these vehicles. So at the end of the day, all these features and information will help us to expand the lifetime of our fleet, avoiding downtime and overall repairing or servicing in the most efficient way. So what's next? What is the next step, or what is next to preventive maintenance? Where are we going right now in the repair industry? We go through the predictive maintenance. And as you know, in this type of maintenance, the live monitoring of the information, the performance, and the use of the vehicle is going to be very important. So Kojali is also offering a telematics or remote diagnostic solutions that can help all these companies working with these predictive maintenance approaches. It's going to be very useful for fleets, for example. So in case of any of you are interested in knowing more about this model of Jaltest telematics, just let us know and we will be more than happy to let you know more about it, okay? All right, so we have talked about the coverage, we have talked about features and so on. Now let's talk about the numbers, the financial, how much I'm going to save using Jaltest versus other alternatives. So let's think about a shop that wants to be able to repair any vehicle that comes in without having to rely on third parties, other repairers, dealers, and so on. So they have mainly 2 options. The first one is to invest in all these OE software, hardware licenses, which means that for a complete coverage, we will need about 18 different tools and spend something around $30,000. Versus this option, our proposal is just having one single solution with one user interface and one license of use to cover all our makes and all our systems, and that is going to cost at least 4 times less. And obviously, it's not everything about money, but also about time, okay? It's not the same having to work with 18 solutions than working with just one. So that means that the learning curve with Jaltest will be always shorter. It's much easier and will take less time to become an expert in just one thing than in 18. It's just common sense. In any case, nobody is going to work with 18 different tools. That's crazy. But it's very common to have shops working inefficiently with 7 or 8 different ones. So let's get back to the example of the 3 tracks that we saw before at the beginning with Jorge. To be able to cover the main systems of these trucks, we can invest in OEM software or in Jaltest. If we go with Jaltest, we will be saving half of the OE cost in the year 2. But what's going to happen after 5 years? So the amount of money invested in Jaltest over these 5 years will be still less than the amount invested in the OE tools in just the first year. So we have already talked about the benefits or the advantages of having all the technical information integrated in the same platform that we use for diagnostics. But we are not talking just about time and also about the ease of use, but also about money. Other sources of technical information in the market have a much higher price compared to Jaltest Info, which is going to cost just $2 per day, around $2 per day, versus around 7,000, which is going to be the cost for other tools like Meter One or Motor, which is going to be like $2,500, depending on the packages that we purchase. In addition to that, Jaltest Info includes info of a high added value that we won't find in other solutions, like for example, the wiring schematics. So what's going to be our conclusions here? Well, we could sum them up and close the presentation by saying that working with Jaltest is going to be, first of all, let us know to be more independent in our repairs, since it gives us the necessary resources to be able to repair by ourselves without having to rely on third parties. Second, working more efficiently. We have seen how much money and how much time we will save working with Jaltest and without losing any coverage all the way around. We will even increase our coverage, being pretty much close to the dealer level when it comes to bidirectional controls and also technical information. And three, is gonna mean working with Jaltest is gonna mean a boost of our business possibilities, because thanks to this extensive coverage, we will be able to handle the repair and the maintenance of every vehicle that is gonna come into our shop. So with this, I hope that you have been able to see and to understand what is the value when it comes to money and when it comes to time of Jaltest Diagnostics and all the benefits that it can give to your business activities, to your repair and to your maintenances. All right, so thank you very much for joining us today. If you have any questions right now, we're gonna be available on the chat still for a few minutes, so just go ahead and go for your questions. And if not, feel more than free to contact us in the phone number that you have in the screen, or to the email address that you also have over there, or just visit our website, fojaleusa.com. So thank you guys, and see you soon in next Jaltest webinars.